Hey, what's going on, Golferos? Welcome back to the Salud Golferos podcast. As you can probably tell behind me, we're back to Dog Leg Brewing. And with me today, we actually have Christina, one of the co-owners of Dog Leg Brewing Company here in Vista, California. So, Christina, thanks for jumping on the pod with me today.
Thanks for having me, Ralph. I'm glad we could finally do this.
I know,
We've been talking about doing this for a while, yeah.
We've had a podcast in here, but we haven't had it with you. And
that's true.
It's only right that we actually interview you.
Yes. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I'm glad to be part of it.
No, happy to have you on. Yeah. And, I'm happy because you've always been so good to us.
Thank you.
From the very beginning, from the moment you knew that we had a golf brand, and you always reached out and supported us. So it's only right that we support you. So
yeah, well, I think one of the beauties about golf is just and kind of one of the reasons we started Dogleg to begin with was community. Mm-hmm. And it's cool to see so many. I think we're in this era right now with golf, and I don't know if COVID helped explode this, but where so many individuals are creating their own communities within the game that are so unique, which I saw that in Los Golferos, and I thought it was so cool, being a Latina myself. So I was excited when we finally connected, and I think all these different communities can overlap and connect, and you just meet so many unique people that it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's kind of one of the beauties about Dogleg and why I love coming here so much is because you guys are the mecca of golf and beer. You're this Venn diagram of beer and golf for the brewery scene.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah. Because for those of you that follow us outside of the state, we're here in Vista, Carlsbad, where all of the brands are. We have Callaway, of TaylorMade, Titleist, all that. And then with Vista, it's the brewery scene.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You took both home bases and were like, let's go ahead and start a brewery.
That was definitely by design. The whole brewery craft beer concept was my husband's idea. I think just purely out of a selfish desire to want to just play more golf and drink more beer, or just spend time doing what you love most, right? Yeah. And we all met playing golf, our whole ownership team. I met my husband back when I was in college. We both worked at Pinehurst for a summer, which was pretty cool. Yeah, so been together ever since. And so we wanted to create a craft beer experience that celebrated what brought us together and what brings us together with so many unique people and cool communities and individuals. So what better way to celebrate that than over a pint of awesome craft beer?
Cheers to that.
I'll take that. Yeah, man. Salud. So that's what we wanted to create. And a lot of golfers up until the past couple years, really still, for the most part on the course, they're drinking the big box, big brand beers like Coors Light, Bud Light, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But we just knew that there's a better craft beer experience that you can enjoy on the golf course. So that's something that we also enjoy doing. My husband's into home brewing.
Okay.
So, he wanted to also combine wow, there's this amazing art. Golf is like an art, right?
Yeah.
And it's a science. And so is craft beer. It's very technical and calculated, but there's also a lot of creativity involved. And we just saw so much overlap between that and golf.
Yeah.
That we're let's just combine the two. And
that's
it had
crazy.
to be. And we're in the mecca of the craft beer world here in San Diego.
Yeah.
You have over 160 plus breweries just in San Diego County. And then we're at the center of, the golf manufacturing world. And we're like, how's nobody combined these two passions yet? So we're like, we got to get on it. So that's what brought Dog Leg into existence.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I like that you make that connection of between like science and art, because that is so true, because you can have somebody that gets so technical with golf where it's like, I need to, hinge the wrist and get back and stuff like that. But then you have a guy who's just like, I'm going to go out there and swing my swing and hits these beautiful shots. And it's the same thing with beer. Is like, I would say that with beer, sometimes there's some happy mistakes where it's like,
we've had happy mistakes. Yeah.
Where it's like, let's mix some flavors together. Yeah. The acidity and the pH level and all this stuff's got to work. But no, I've never had anyone describe beer and golf like that. So that's really cool.
There's this like poem. We actually have it on our wall called "Golf is it starts golf is a science." So I don't know the whole thing off the top of my head, but it kind of just talks about how those two intersect between art and science, and we're like, oh my god, craft beer is the same way. But to your point, I mean, how many times have you had those happy accidents where you're around the greens and you like accidentally skull one and it still hits the pin and you chip one in?
I love when it happens in a scramble, when you're just like, you just do something completely ridiculous and you sink a shot or leave it close to the pin and you're like, I meant to do that.
Because we're all a lot more fearless when you're playing in a scramble, because you're like, I got 3 other guys to back me up. So like, people were tell me in scrambles, they're like, wow, you're so amazing at putting. I'm like, I'm really not this good normally.
You gave me 3 reads.
Exactly, yeah. And I know I can hammer it because we're already in for par, whatever. But so I don't know. Golf's it's such a unique sport game, and it's just fun to combine it with craft beer. So
that's so true, and that's I like that. So let's take it back in time a little bit. So kind of what we were talking about before we started recording is, luckily we're celebrating year 5, or we just celebrated year 5.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And congrats to you. You guys are coming up on year 5, which I don't know how we never realized it together interacting over the past couple of years, that it's like, we're kind of, our tenure is around the same timeline as far as being in the golf space. What was that like? Because that would put us pre-COVID. So obviously your husband is like, hey, I want to combine golf and beer. But what was kind of the moment where like, okay, let's really do this and let's kick this off? What sparked that?
Yeah. So we opened our doors November of 2019.
Okay.
And probably spent the better part of 2 years prior to that planning, right? Like, refining the concept, the business plan, putting together a proposal, rounding up investors, finding a location. That was a challenge, just finding the real estate. And then the build out, and then the opening. And so you put all this blood, sweat, and tears into 2 years of hard work, and then and then COVID hit. So we're just like, everyone was in it. Everyone had to deal with was dealt kind of the same hands. We just took it one day at a time, and just kind of, I don't know. I mean, this is going to sound really cheesy, but kind of in golf, you just kind of take it one hole at a time. Hope for the
Play
best.
Your lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we were very grateful to the golf community, because what was one of the first activities you could do during COVID, because it was social distancing, was golf. So we were able to start. We hadn't originally planned to distribute our product. We planned to just have a tasting room and bring the people here to experience the beer. But obviously we had to pivot very quickly and get our product into packaging, start distributing to golf courses. And, a lot of golf courses embraced our young baby brand to start selling at their clubs. And same thing with the golf industry. Like, as things started opening up, Cobra Golf had an event here, and Callaway had an event here, and TaylorMade, and, people from Titleist. And so it's really really like endearing to see how everyone kind of supported each other in that. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
So you make a good call out there about COVID. A lot of people had to pivot, change, how they navigated their businesses. We have a collab here with Blue Fire, and we always have the conversation like, do we ever want to move to canning? And then canning is a whole nother beast and a whole nother aspect. Mm-hmm. So was that part of the original plan? Because you're saying originally it was more of a tasting room, but then COVID kind of pushed you into that canning space, or was it part of the original plan?
It was. It pushed us into the canning space a lot quicker, mm-hmm. because we weren't planning on doing that for at least a year. We were kind of going to refine, like, what beers are selling well, because you really want to figure that out before you start packaging it all.
Yeah.
So we had to figure that out very quickly. But luckily, we were able to come out with some tasty beers that have worked well on the course. And that's one of the things that I think sets us apart as a brewery is we do love traditional style beers, like Pilsners, lager, or like Scotch ales, English style ales, pale ales. Mm-hmm. But we also know that, we're a big like IPA community here in San Diego. Yeah. People like their hops. So we were able to come up with a line of beers that are still fairly light in alcohol, because let's face it, everyone wants to crush more than one beer on the golf course.
Yep.
So we didn't want to create a line of beers that, you get faded after one or two, your 7% beer, 8% beers. So most of the ones we distribute are, 4.8%, 5.8%. Mm-hmm. We have a session IPA that's 5.2.
Yeah.
So just having, beers that can be easily enjoyed on the golf course, but still really flavorful.
Right
so
on. Yeah.
That helped us kind of get into distribution quicker. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
No, that's great. And honestly, like, I love understanding the process and kind of mm-hmm. identifying what works, what's going to be best, because it's an investment, right? You mm-hmm. don't want to send something out and then it doesn't move because, like you said, the IPAs can be a little heavy and someone mm-hmm. pounds an IPA on the first hole and then, they're not really drinking for the rest of the round.
And I think even just in general, people are trending toward lighter beers or even hop water or seltzers. Like, they don't necessarily want to drink heavy, whether you're on or off the golf course.
Yeah.
So maybe in a sense that has helped us.
That's so funny that you say that, because so for me personally, I went through a dry October. Mm-hmm. Just because I was training for a half marathon, and totally. I was like, it's kind of counterintuitive if I'm pounding beers and then going for runs. Mm-hmm. So I went through a dry October, and I have some friends who were like, they have their birthdays, stuff like that, and they're like, really, you're picking October to go dry? And it's like, I'm sorry.
There's no good month.
There's no good month, right?
There's always something to celebrate or commiserate or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because I feel like there's been a recent kind of development in beer. Like, mm-hmm. Tom Holland just came out with his non-alcoholic beer.
Okay, yeah.
And then I just found out about another brand that came out with a non-alcoholic mm-hmm. beer. So yeah, it's kind of like it's people want the flavor of beer.
They want the flavor of beer without all the alcohol.
Without the alcohol.
Yeah.
So
I think we'll see a lot more of that, which it's good. It's good to have that variety and
Yeah.
Take a breather from a heavy beer every once in a while.
Would you guys ever consider trying that?
I can't recall. I think one of the big reasons we haven't done it yet is that you do have to go through, and I don't want to be like quoted on this because I don't know how accurate it is.
Hold her to it,
but
guys.
I'm pretty sure, this is off the record. No, but I'm pretty sure because there's so much, strict measures around calling yourself a non-alcoholic beer because, right, you're worried about, for many reasons, it has to definitely have zero alcohol in it.
Zero, yeah.
Similar to like gluten-free. If you coin yourself as a gluten-free beer, you have to go through like the FDA, or there's a different set of regulations that isn't necessarily part of like the normal beer licensing manufacturing process.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that we've wanted to go down that route.
It's
now.
a whole nother beast.
It's a whole nother monster. Yeah. So it's like its own product.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Kind of like what we were talking about, like the canning process, right? That's a whole other industry, a whole other beast, and like non-alcoholic. So each avenue of beer or any type of alcohol, it's.
I found out if we want, because to can hop water.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like
it's a whole nother.
Yeah, because apparently bottled water is very regulated.
FDA comes into play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're like,
it's like
we just have it on tap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy, but a lot of regulations in place.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Man. No, I feel like every guy, and not excluding women, maybe women have this dream too, but every guy has the dream of like, I'm going to open up a bar. I'm going to open up a brewery.
Totally.
And then, because I was definitely that guy in college. I did a home brew, and I was like, oh, when I get out of school, I'm going to open up a brewery. And then it's like, that's a lot of work. It
is, yeah.
Yeah.
And, it takes a village. We had a whole a team of us, and years to plan.
Yeah.
But it kind of started that way. It was just like, I want to open up a golf-inspired bar.
Yeah.
And it slowly evolved into Dog Leg Brewing Company.
So how did you come to Dog Leg? Like, what was it specifically about that name that you're like, okay, this is going to be the name of our spot? Because obviously there's all these different golf brands and things like that where they have golf-inspired stuff, but why was it Dog Leg?
I know that from the very first day, my husband's name is Nick, and Nick is also the head brewer. And like I mentioned, the whole thing was kind of his brainchild. In the beginning, I was really just kind of along for the ride. I was like, hell yeah, that sounds a lot more fun than my day job.
That's surprising to me, by the way.
Yeah.
You just along for the ride, because guys, she does so much here at Dog Leg.
Well, it turned into my full-time job. So,
sorry, continue.
Yeah, no. If you told me like 10 years ago that this is what I'd be doing, I'd tell you you're full of shit. You've lost your mind. But here we are, and it's fun. It's hard. It is so hard.
Yeah.
So that should definitely be out there.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely not all fun and games. But it was like from the very first day he kind of mentioned, we were driving back from a golf trip actually, and he was just super quiet the whole time, and I was like, what's going on? Like, you're usually so like chatter, you talk a lot and you're singing in the car and there's just nothing going on. And he's like, I think I want to quit my job. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, what do you want to do? He's like, I don't know, like, be cool to have some sort of like golf bar themed thing. And I'm like, all right, we're just spitballing or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, it could be called, and I swear, like he wanted Dog Leg right from the get go. And we were dog lovers. We love dogs. And just the term Dog Leg, it's subtle enough that golfers get it right away.
Yeah.
But we wanted our brand to be inviting to people who may not have dipped their toe in the water of golf, or maybe because golf is still intimidating to a lot of people. So it's like, how can we create this experience, this golf experience that is still very inviting to people, and who doesn't love a friendly dog? So and a perfect day for us is when we can combine golf, beer, and dogs, which there are some golf courses in San Diego that allow you to bring your dog to the golf course, and it literally is like heaven on earth. I don't know if you like dogs, but
I love dogs.
I was going to say, I don't know if we could have continued this conversation if
no, I think like my wife would have divorced me, maybe not even have married me if I didn't like dogs. So yeah. So
we just I don't know, just always it was dog, and being in San Diego, and really, I mean, most places there's such a big dog loving community.
Yeah.
But in San Diego, I mean, it's the home of Petco.
Yeah.
So it's like, and everywhere you go, they allow dogs in. So we're like, Well, if we call it dog leg, even if you don't play golf, you're going to be like, oh, dogs, beer. And then you come in and you're like, golf. Yeah. So, I don't know. It just kind of felt right from the very beginning. So,
and that's so true because as far as like the inviting part, because my wife's not a big golfer, but I remember like one of the first times I told her we were coming here, I was like, oh, let's go to Dog Leg, grab a beer. So she's not a big beer drinker. She likes seltzers, things like that. So I had a winner with that. I was like, they have seltzers. It's cool. You know, I'll have that. And then I told her the name. It was like Dog Leg. She's like, what is it, like a dog themed place? And I was like, kind of. I was like, it's golf, like a dog leg, a bend in the golf course. But they do have dogs there, and they are welcoming to dogs. So when we came in, luckily there was quite a few dogs in here. She's like,
sometimes they get a lot of dogs.
Yeah. So she loved it. So you guys definitely, you had something going there. So
thank you. Yeah. We again, it's just all out of that. We just wanted to create a space that we found fun, but we know a lot of other people would find fun. Yeah. And just building that community. So yeah.
So now I'm curious. So you're saying if we go back 10 years ago and ask Christina then, hey, what are you doing in 10 years? You know, running a brewery. What was kind of your original goal? Like, what was your kind of career path before diving into this?
I don't know, man. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like aimlessly trying different jobs. You know, I've always I've played golf my entire life.
Okay. Yeah.
Since I was like 3 years old. I mean, it was the only sport my dad really ever got me into or really was enthusiastic about me playing.
Yeah.
So I played forever. I grew up in Ohio. And yeah, I just... so when I moved out here, I started working in the golf industry. I worked for a very short stint at a golf B2B magazine called Golf Inc.
Okay.
And then I worked for a Carlsbad Golf Center for a couple of years in marketing. So I started off in journalism, then dove into marketing, and then freelanced for a while, did some writing for like the LPGA Women's Network, PGA Magazine, SCGA's For Golf magazine.
Okay. Yeah.
Or For magazine. So always worked in the golf industry, but I don't know. I never really had like a true like focus or passion that I'm like, yeah, this is what I love to do. Yeah. So when the opportunity came up, like, hey, let's start our own business, I was like, okay, that'll be like my side hustle. But you know how side hustles start.
They overtake your life.
Yeah, they overtake your life. So I guess to answer your question, I didn't know. I don't know. I was just...
It sounds like everything prepared you for this.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Whoa.
A little bit of marketing, some writing. Yeah.
That's so true.
It all prepared you for this.
Yes. And like they say, like 90% of beer is marketing. So yeah. It's really hard.
That's why
easy.
That's why I laugh when you say like, oh, like, okay, cool, I'm along for the ride. It's like I see you grinding every time I'm in here and you're in here, like you're doing something, like, so
thank you. Yeah,
so respect to you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
cheers to that. We all have our grind, right? You have Los Golferos, because you do both. I mean, you have the apparel and then you have the community, the tournaments. Which tournament planning is not easy.
No, it's not.
It's very labor intensive.
I'm actually really glad that you brought that up because I wanted to dive into kind of what you've been doing. But yeah, no, as far as like me, I wear a lot of hats for the brand. You know, we're primarily, we always tell folks we're the brand first. You know, our towels are our mainstay. And really it's because we feel that the towels, it's almost like our banner. As our culture.
It's like your flag.
Yeah, it's our flag. So when guys see our towels on the bag, it's almost that reassurance. Like, cool, there's more of my people out here. Like, we're out here. And it's not always necessarily like other Mexicanos. You know, we got some guys. We have a golf group chat. We got some guys. We call them our golferos, our white guys. And, you know, they always go, oh, can I rock this? And I'm like, of course. Please rock it. Please put it on your bag, because it symbolizes to other people. It's like, hey, like, maybe I'm not in the culture, grew up in the culture, but I respect it.
I respect it.
And
embrace it.
Embrace it. And I'm someone that's cool with golfing with you.
Yeah.
So that's why we always say the brand first, because that brand has then evolved into the community, which you just referenced. Shout out to the Hopped On. That guy puts in a lot of work to help us out.
Guy.
Love the Hopped On.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he's been one of those people that like he kind of like tries to scold me. He's like, hey man, like, you know, you're connecting with people. And it's like, cool. Like, go buy more towels and do all that thing. But he's like, no. Like, people want to meet you guys. Like, they want to see, like, who is spearheading this brand. And so now we have this, like, 90-person group chat just down here in San Diego.
Wow.
We have over 27,000 followers on Instagram, which thank you guys for the follows. So it's like one of those things where, like, it's almost outgrown us in a sense. Yeah. Where it's like now, like, we have to go do these things.
Yeah, you didn't know it was going to get this big.
No,
quick.
we didn't. Yeah. So it makes me really happy because...
Which also tells you... sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
But also tells you that there was a need for that community. Like, it wasn't...
Yeah.
They were craving it, so...
100%. Oh, thank you.
Good job.
100%. But where I wanted to evolve that to is circling back to you, because you're the guest of honor, is, you know, when you build something like this, people want more of it.
Totally.
Especially when you do something right. And so what you were saying, like planning events, you know, obviously you guys started it because you wanted to tie in your passions of golf and beer, but then you guys started throwing events. Like, what kind of like triggered that for you guys as far as, you know, just the golf outings and
like the golf tournaments?
Yeah. Like, how did that start?
We always knew that we wanted to connect with the customers both out in the tasting room and on the golf course. So we created these monthly events. But like I said, I play golf my whole life. I play competitively at a pretty high level. But I never want to disclude people that are just dipping their toe in the water and just trying golf for the first time, because I think that's such a fun time to just try to figure out the game, and you love to see it, you know, someone like falling in love with the sport. So we wanted to create tournaments that it could be competitive, but you can just sign up and play for fun, you know, like, so we get a good mix of that. Yeah. And we wanted to get around local courses in San Diego, and it's pretty cool to watch. Like, we'll have buddies that sign up for our tournaments that they're like, oh, my buddy's from LA, we grew up together, and this is the one time a month, this is our time, we get the whole day together, we just hang out and we catch up. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Like, I didn't know that, you know, because you spend all this time planning these tournaments. Yeah. And you're like, or at least sometimes in my mind, you know, I'm like, was it fun enough? Was it good enough? Like, did it run smoothly enough? Yeah. Are they going to come back? Are they going to complain? Like, you know, you just kind of worry, making sure everyone's like having that awesome time. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do this again next month. And then people come up to me and like tell me these stories. Yeah. And, or, you know,
that's how they get you. It's like the good shot in golf.
I'm like, damn it, now I got to do this again. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
totally.
Man. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, but like, or like we have this one group that always plays together, and it's like brother and sister, and then their spouses. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's like their family time every month. Or we'll get like a father and son that play together, or like a father and daughter, mother and son, you know, so it's just cool. Yeah. We get a mix of everything. And that's what keeps me planning these things. Yeah. So
that's so funny, and that's so true, because I get the same way, like when I'm planning the events. So like I've had guys in the group that'll thank me. They'll be like, "Hey, like I really appreciate you like putting in the work," and
they're so grateful.
Yeah. And honestly, like I've gone months where it's like, okay, how come you haven't signed up? How come you haven't sent in your fees? How come you haven't? And like I'm like so stressed out. And then the day of, like it happens, and like I'll get the same thing. We're like, "Hey man, like I really appreciate you putting this on. Like thank you. I had so much fun today." And like you just start getting all the feedback from people, and you're like, "Okay, I'll do this again.
One more time.
Let's run it back. Let's set it back up."
Yeah.
And I was gonna say it's like that one shot in golf, right, where you can have a bad round of golf, and then you hit that beautiful shot, and then
so
you're like,
annoying.
Like, all right,
it keeps you coming back.
I'll pay the green fees again. Let's do it again. Yeah.
I got one left in me.
Yeah. No,
go back for that one more.
It's kind of crazy how we can always tie golf back into things, right? Like
it's just it's just so wild. I mean, and I've definitely had my share of like love hate with golf. Because I played in college. I played Division I, and it broke my heart. At? Kent State in Ohio.
Okay, yeah.
Not really known for a lot of like the big, like football, basketball.
They dabble a little in football. I see them every now and then, but
football, maybe like basketball. But I don't know. We get random people that come out of there like Julian Edelman and
that's what I was just saying. Like
Antonio Gates. There's others, but But so I think whenever you perform anything at that level, like it can be very heartbreaking, you know, very tough mentally. You hear guys at the even higher level or women at the higher levels talk about it even more. It's such a grind. That you almost like, for a while there, I didn't love golf anymore. I was burnt out. Hardcore burnout. But then when we moved out here, really the only way I could meet people or that I, found a space to meet people was through golf. And Goat Hill Park was when I really started meeting some girlfriends that now I've had these girlfriends for, 8+ years. We've gone to each other's like weddings and things, so it's kind of cool how, when you move to another state, it's hard to connect. And so to have the sport kind of rekindle that love that I had, just because it connected me with a new community. So it all comes back to community. Yeah.
Finding that place where you feel welcome and kind of secure. Yeah.
And you can celebrate together over like your successes in golf, those random one-off good shots that keep you coming back, or like you dissect every horrible shot you had that day and your friends are like with you, like patting you on the back, be like, I get you, I've been there, I feel you too. So it's kind of nice to have a group to share that with.
That's good. No, I love that. And Goat Hill is like, shout out Goat Hill. That's probably one of the best places to start off because it is such a relaxed vibe and they're dog friendly. So
it's so unique. I think you're starting to see more golf courses really embrace that culture, where, what's the culture is like, bring your family, bring your kids, bring your dog. It's almost like a park that's why they don't call it like Goat Hill Golf Course. It's Goat Hill Park. Because they wanted to create a space, a welcoming space that, is more than just, playing around the course. It's, people go there just to have a beer and hang out and shoot the shit with their friends and bring their kids to just kind of like start getting immersed in the game, or like they'll have concerts sometimes. And I think you're seeing more courses do that. And I am here for it. I think it's just the coolest thing. Green spaces aren't always easily accessible. So I think the more we can see, especially in like some of these like densely populated communities where, they have access to stuff like that, it's only going to grow the game as well. So
no, that's so true, because funny enough, I was at Goat Hill like 2 weeks ago using the range, and I was there with my buddy Omar, And we were just there kind of just to connect and, think of ideas for the YouTube channel. And we were just swinging. And all of a sudden, this guy walks up to us. And in Spanish, he's like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "It's good to see more Mexicanos out here." Mm-hmm. And so the way he approached us, or I would say the way he approached Omar, was like they were old friends. And so I just took it as like, "Oh, that's his friend. Cool." But then the more like I paid attention to him, I was like, "Oh, no. He's really just happy to see more brown guys out here."
Totally, yeah.
And what made it even better for me is when you talk about family and the community and being kind of like this open space is he started telling us about his daughter, and he had like his 10-year-old daughter there. And he was like, yeah, he goes, we live right here. They were like in that apartment complex right next to Goat Hill. And he goes, we just picked it up. We just started watching YouTube videos, and she fell in love with it. And now she like drags me out here to the range. He, quote unquote, drags.
Yeah.
He was like joking, but he goes, so we're out here almost every day.
That's amazing.
And I was like, that is so cool. I was like, and I remember we wrapped up the session on the range, and I made a point to walk over to her, and I was like, hey, like, this is really cool what you're doing. She probably sees me as an old man or whatever. I don't know.
No.
She just sees this adult walking over to her.
Yeah,
but I really wanted to make a point to say, like, hey, it's really cool what you're doing. Please keep it up.
Yeah.
And so I think to your point about these types of golf courses that are expanding the community and welcoming the community, whatever community you're coming from.
Yeah.
It's the beautiful thing about golf right now. And I think that's really awesome.
Yes. Well, and just the diversity of it, especially you're going to see that a lot more at the local level and publicly accessible spaces like, muni courses and stuff like that, where everyone has access to enjoy the sport and get into it because it can be expensive.
Yeah.
It's cool to like watch that.
The evolution is pretty crazy. Yeah.
And like I said, I think we're in a time right now where golf, it's, for whatever reason, it was in a plateau for a while, but I think you have this, like our generation and then the upcoming generations that are just putting, you see their own twist on what golf means to them. For us, it's craft beer. For you, it's the Mexican community.
Yeah.
There's Babes Golf, they're all about like bringing new women into the game. There's brands that are like Malbon, that it's like the skating community and artists and like hip hop. And, so you have so many different brands and they each have their own personality. And it's just kind of fun to watch how everyone kind of interprets golf a little bit differently.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answers. Again, I think that's like the artistry of it. So it's kind of fun to see. And we all tend to, going back to your Venn diagram, like we all intersect at some point. Like I remember when we did our first golf collectors market, my goal was to kind of create a space for these brands or these golf collectors to come in and just kind of have their community, maybe like meet each other. And then when they all showed up, they're like, hey man, good to see you again. I'm like, you guys know each other? And they were like guys that came down from LA, like the guy from Troy from Guapmeat.
Yeah.
And Hayden, a girl who does her own golf inspired perfumes. I mean, who would think to do a brand like that? And it smells amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And and they knew each other. And Trevor Larson, who does Persimmon Woods, knew like Troy, and it's just like, wow, you guys already know each other. Like your worlds have collided before.
Yeah.
But golf's just bringing it back together one more time. So I don't know. It's like fun.
No, it's a lot of fun. And, I always tell you thank you. And I'm going to say it again. Yeah. Thank you for always inviting us to those. That's always a great time. I definitely run into guys that I've met through the golf community, but then I also meet new people. That's always cool. Troy from Guapmeat, about 2 events ago, we got to meet him. We were posted up right next to him. So That was really cool. So on behalf of the golf community, I'm gonna tell you thank you. I love that you guys put on those events. What kind of inspired that actually? Like you talked about trying to bring the community together, but what was it one day you were like, let's throw a maker's market together? How did that happen?
I think it was I was throwing around a similar idea with one of my mentors. I had the idea. I'm like, because I always thought those record swap meets, vintage, vinyl record swap meets were kind of cool. And then so I was like, it'd be cool if we did some sort of event like that, but golf. Yeah. And then my mentor, his name's Steve Jess.
Shout out Steve.
Shout out Steve. And he was like, we should do sports. He's a big sports guy, so he's like, it'd be cool to do some sort of sports memorabilia event. And I'm like, there's something in between that.
Yeah.
What if it was like a golf collector's market where it's not like a garage sale? I don't want people bringing like their janky old clubs that have been sitting in the garage that you find like at a Goodwill or whatever. Yeah. I wanted it to be like, collectible stuff.
Yeah.
So at first it started with like, okay, collectible persimmon woods, autographed items, like a whatever, Phil Mickelson, like autographed wedge or like, stuff like that people collect, or, old Masters, like ticket stubs or whatever. I don't know, just random stuff that golf nuts just really will pay for. And so it started there, and I'm like, well, let's take it a step further. What about all these up and coming local brands that it's like, let's support each other. And then, hopefully that'll open the door to like cross collaborate, whether it's with us or, you meet somebody else. So I thought it'd be more fun to find cause collector's items are also like swag golf head covers. Yeah. Or, you might have a line of, one-off Golferos hats that you're doing for like a seasonal thing, or it's like, get it while it lasts. Yeah. So just, people that love to collect their unique golf treasures, and how can we turn that into an event? So that's where it started. And hopefully it'll continue to grow.
I hope so. Cause like I said, I really do enjoy them. And, being here in the area, our guys are up in LA. Like you said, there's guys coming down from LA, and I'm always driving up there. Like, I'm going this weekend. Like this weekend, I'm going up to LA. So anytime that's a drive. Yeah. It's a drive. Anytime you throw out the shout out, I'm like, yes. Like, this is our event. Like, we're going to Dog Leg. No, but to continue the conversation of growing the community, like, funny enough, like, I'm talking about my buddy Omar. We're at the range. You never know what connections you're going to make at the market. And, totally. And that's how I met Omar. No way. Yeah. Okay. Omar had been following us, I believe, on Instagram for a little bit. And then it was the very first golf market. Yeah. And you send us the flyer, we reshare it. And he was like, oh, Dog Leg, I go there all the time. Golferos are going to be there. And he showed up, got to meet the guy. Now I golf with him regularly. That's cool. That's so cool. So you're making connections. Yeah. You're doing what you wanted to with the brewery.
Thank you. Well, it's nice to, hear these stories, because as a business owner, I can just speak to, I'm sure you can speak to 5 years of running this. You get so bogged down by just running a business. Like, not the fun reason, not like we wanted to like get into play more beer and golf. Like, it's, payroll and accounting and expenses rent and, the toilet's busted and, the window broke or whatever, just like random stuff that as a business owner, you're like, what's my job again? Like, what is my actual passion? And it's been kind of fun preparing for our 5-year anniversary, because I've, just for marketing or whatever, I've been scrolling through like the past 5 years of pictures and videos and events, and like,
isn't that crazy looking back?
Yeah.
You look at all the stuff you did before.
I'm like, wow, we have done a lot, because you forget, you just you are focused on the day to day. it just starts to become a job a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to hear this, to hear these stories, because it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I do this.
This is why
why we do this.
Yeah, all of this. Yeah. No, that's so true. And it's funny because I'm a Samsung guy, so I have Google Photos that, I'm not here to start a war between iPhone and Samsung, but through Google Photos, it always gives me my weekly and monthly, like, hey, remember this 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And so I do all of the social media through my phone. And so, I get the memories and stuff like that. Like 4 years ago, you were in Arizona doing this event for Los Golferos. And same thing with like one of the markets, it reminded me, and I'm like, oh, shoot. Yeah.
Sometimes you can like lose perspective on your original vision or what your goal is.
Yeah.
But it's having those moments to reflect on, like, oh yeah, we did this really cool event. Oh yeah, I met this person.
Yeah.
And it all kind of starts to sink in again. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So that actually leads me to a question. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a business major. That was my thing in school, and so I was always taught that when you start a business or you're researching a business, what's their mission statement? You kind of talked about the poem you have here, but did you guys ever develop a mission statement?
We did. It's really funny you asked that, because we're reading another business book about how you can, like, business statements shouldn't be set in stone.
Yeah.
They should evolve with the business.
It's the cornerstone of...
So we're literally having this whole, like, exercise where, like, it's time. We're at 5 years. It's time to evolve that mission statement. But our original mission statement is basically, we exist to celebrate the game that brought us together through an exceptionally crafted beer and through unique tasting room experience. So I feel like we've done that pretty well up until this point.
Yeah.
Because we kind of wanted to be that intersection between the craft beer world and the golf world. And so now it's like, how can we expand on that and grow it to like a new level?
Yeah.
So we're kind of in the middle of figuring that out right now.
That's kind of cool. So, yeah. Year 5. That's kind of now the reevaluation year.
Exactly. We're not babies anymore.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a normal first like 2.5 years of business because of COVID. Yeah. So, this is the only normal we've known, and we had to, kind of like fight upstream to realize our dream. And I feel like, it kind of sets you back.
Yeah.
Because the world was shut down for like a year or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so and we had to pivot, and we had to do so many different things differently, and we were first time business owners. Like none of us went to business school. That would have been a nice nice thing to have. But
that is the one fortunate thing that we have at Los Golferos is I went to business school, and then Raul, he's a sales guy.
Yeah.
So we have
sales is huge.
We have the two business minds in our group. So.
Dude, we should after this we're gonna talk about other topics.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so it's just now we're in this point where it's time to take those next steps and figure out where like Dog Leg's gonna go from here.
Yeah.
So I mean, we had like our original 5-year plan, but obviously like just with the way the world, the chips fell.
Yeah.
In those first 5 years, I think we've stayed pretty true to our vision, but couldn't grow necessarily as quickly as we anticipated.
Yeah.
And the economy changed. The prices of real estate has changed, and so it's like maybe we need to kind of tweak things a little bit. So we're figuring all that out right now.
No, I love that you guys have that self-recognition. And you're talking about reading a book, and I highly recommend that people that's kind of the point of this podcast too, is to help give perspective, listen to other business owners and like, don't be so, you have to have a core principle and a core foundation.
For sure.
But you have to be able to evolve and grow around it.
There has to be some flexibility.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because I'm reading a book right now about leadership and business leadership. And I just got to this chapter that was really good. You always look to people who get things right? You're like, a lot of times you want that person to be a successful person is like, you're always right. You're always hitting the mark. Mm-hmm. And I hit this chapter in the book that made a really good point that it's like this. So I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to go a little long-winded here on this, but so the scenario is that these folks are on a plane, right? Mm-hmm. And the plane, they realize there's smoke. And in aviation, smoke is get to the ground now.
No bueno.
No bueno. And so in the story, they describe that the flight controller was like, hey, okay, you guys have smoke. You guys have people off the port side, off the starboard side, all this stuff. Basically, there's other planes. And it's illegal for you to try to cut through these lanes to land, right? So the flight controller goes through all their processes and goes, you know what? Fuck it. We're cutting through all these flight lanes. We're landing you guys, and we're getting you to safety. And so flight controller then proceeds to go through and warn every plane. Like, hey, you have somebody coming through your flight plan. You have somebody coming through. You have somebody coming through. Plane by plane. And so eventually they land this plane. And the moral of the story of the chapter is, you don't always want to look to somebody who's going to follow the rules all the time.
That's a really good point, yeah.
You want someone that's going to stick to the rules and then understand when it's time to pivot and break some rules. Mm-hmm. And so kind of going back to your point about a mission statement, how I feel that it aligns is that you had something crazy thrown your way.
Yeah.
Nobody expected COVID. Nobody was prepared for that. You had to pivot, move into the canning space. You had to pivot and do things differently. And so now it's that time as leaders of your business. Okay, we did what we needed to, got past that speed bump, and now it's reevaluate. Are we still following the mission, or do we have to grow the mission? So
yeah.
So you guys had a crazy, like, real life, the craziest real life scenario of that situation. So
yeah, and I mean, that's true. Yeah, you had to be able to. You have to have flexibility. You know, like nothing stays the same forever. I mean, the most successful businesses know how to evolve their brands, but will still staying true to the original idea. Yeah. Which I think for us is always going to be about connecting people and community. And I mean, one of the things we have is we have a golf simulator. Yeah. And we always talked about doing a simulator league. Mm-hmm. And it just, in the first couple of years, for whatever reason, like we just never made it happen. And then like one of our staff, he's just this passionate golfer, also craft beer lover. And he's like, I got this. I can do this. Yeah. And he just took it and ran with it. And now we have a new group of guys that comes through here all the time. And they didn't know each other per se before they all started the league. Some of them might have, but for the most part, it's just random guys that all signed up. Yeah. Now they go on golf trips together. They hang out together. They come to the brewery together. They're like celebrating each other's lives, whatever, life events or whatever together. Yeah. And it's like, that's the mission, to create a connection or a space where people can meet and build on that community in our own way. And so regardless of how we do that, whether it's through a golf tournament, simulator league, golf collectors market, all centered around beer. Yeah. But that's never going to change. So I think that's one thing that we'll continue to do. But that mission statement can evolve as like, well, how are you going to do it? Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. That's cool. I don't know if I've ever told you this. So right now, because we're talking about COVID and so crazy, that was just a few years ago. It felt like forever. But I mean, I'm from Vista, born and raised. I'm like 10 minutes away from here. I never knew of you guys until my cousin from LA told me about you guys.
Really?
It took my cousin from LA to tell me about.
Do you find us on social media?
Yeah. So, I mean, he's always, to Raul, part of the business. He loves coming down here, obviously, because we have so many beautiful.
Yeah, he's the one that was at the market.
That was Sergio.
That was
my other cousin. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a family business.
Do you
so
have a lot of primos?
Yeah, we have a lot of primos. Yeah, we have a lot of primos.
Yeah.
And so he comes down here, and he was just like, hey, like, let's get around in, as we usually do. COVID, so, courses had just opened back up. And he loves beer. He's actually the one that got me into craft beer. And he goes, hey, like, I really want to go check out this new brewery. And I was like, dude, like, everything's closed. It's COVID. He goes, no, these guys are open. I already checked. And I was like, I know, right? I was like, and I was
we
like,
were kind of open.
We were kind of open. And so I was just like, what are you talking about? He's like, dude, how do you not know this?
Yeah.
There is a golf-inspired brewery in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so, in the middle of COVID, he brings me out here. And I was just like, how did I never know of this place? Unfortunately, the simulator was down because couldn't have that going on during COVID. But I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Like,
thank you.
To go from that tumultuous time, and then to be where you guys are at now, and promoting the golf community, all that stuff, and helping the little guys out.
You're not such a little guy. I mean, you guys have a lot of followers, and you're growing your community, and I think it just speaks again to the fact that there was a need for that space. And I'm sure a lot of people thought about doing it, but you actually did it. So that takes a lot of energy and passion and time.
Definitely.
So
definitely. Yeah. No, it's wild. So, kudos to us.
Good job. Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Oh, we need to get you another beer.
Yeah, I'll get another one in a little bit. But I got a little bit to cheers. But yeah, so no, it's been 5 years, and that segues perfectly to what you guys have coming up next. So you have the 5-year anniversary party.
So Saturday, November 16th.
Okay.
It's going to be going on all day. So we're open noon to 9 p.m.
Noon to 9, okay.
We'll have music later in the day, starting at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
But our doors open at noon. We're going to have special beer releases, golf simulator contests. There's a couple different food trucks will be here.
Okay.
New merch. We have like a commemorative glass, and if you get that, it comes with your beer, or it comes with the first pour.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah. So the guy running the simulator contest will be Larson Golf, who does all the persimmon wood. So we'll do like some fun persimmon wood contests for prizes and things like that. So
nice.
It'll be a fun day, just hanging out, celebrating.
I'll be here.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah. We have our Golferos Golf League that day, but it's at noon.
Yeah.
So we'll go play, and then.
Are you guys playing up there or down here?
Down here. We'll be at Camp Pendleton.
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
So we'll be at Camp Pendleton, but as soon as we're done, I'll tell the guys to move the party on over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please do.
Sweet. I love that. So guys, November 16th, this podcast will come out before that. So you'll have plenty of time to plan if you're in the San Diego area. If you're in the LA area, try to make it down, or anywhere. If you want to come into San Diego, it's a great spot to come visit.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, Christina, it's been a really fun podcast.
Thanks, Rob.
I know Nick's got some dinner waiting for you.
Yes.
So
excited.
We'll go ahead and sign off here. I have one more question for you.
Sure.
And it's one question that I like to ask everyone. I'm a big music guy, so I like to have music on the golf course. So I always ask my guests, if you could have only one song to add to a golf playlist, what would you add?
That's an impossible question.
I like to put people on the spot because I want to know what's that first song that comes to mind.
I don't know.
What do you like to listen to? What's the vibe you go for when you're on the golf course?
Oh. I played in a scramble league over the summer.
Okay.
And this one of the guys on our scramble team, he created his own Spotify playlist called Dope.
Dope.
I'm pretty sure it's public, but it's a lot of, it's like a mix of like Americana, a lot of like blues, rock and roll, vibes. So I love that playlist. But it's like bands I've never heard of. You know, it's not like classic rock. You know.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
Oh. Why
Like
didn't you prep me for this beforehand?
I always want to put people on the spot because it's like, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Because what we do with that song is we add it to a playlist. We have, we have a Golferos y Guest playlist. So your one song will be immortalized on the playlist.
Oh my God, I don't know. I can't think of this right now.
So, for example, right now we have some Ice Cube on there. We got some Bad Bunny. We got some Garth Brooks on there, I believe.
Nice.
It goes all over the place.
I hope it follows Bad Bunny. Garth Brooks.
Yeah, I'll put them right after.
Shoot. I'm trying to think. I don't know why I'm like totally blanking right now. Of all the questions you asked me, it's got to be a good one too. I'm trying to think of the last. I'm also like in Christmas mode. I'm one
Let's
of
throw
those
a Christmas
people.
song on there. I am so down. Christina, this playlist is so random. I love it because it's just all over the place. If you were the one to throw a Christmas song on there, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Well, this is so embarrassing. I've been listening to a lot of Charlie Brown.
Okay.
You know, like it's jazz. It's Vince Guaraldi.
Okay.
I don't even know. I mean, there's so many, but you know, like there's one. I don't know.
So we'll pick out a Vince Guaraldi,
Charlie Brown song. I'll find a good one.
There we go.
Sorry in advance that it's going to be on this playlist.
We're adding it to the playlist.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm going to think of something as soon as we get off of here. I'm going to be like, oh.
That's what we wanted. Yeah.
But I'm in Christmas mode, so I'm ready for it. It's been a long year. I'm ready for the holidays.
I know.
It
went by so quick, but it was so long all at the same time. So.
Yes. Well, and I feel like now that we have to plan events all the time, like the holidays and all these seasons go by so much faster.
Yeah.
So I feel like I need to start earlier just to enjoy them.
Yep.
So that's my excuse.
That's the problem of being like a project manager, a scheduler, a business owner.
Yeah.
We think quarters in advance, years in advance.
Yeah. Whether the planning actually gets done that far in advance doesn't usually work out that way, at least not for me.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
So I'll think of another song.
It is what it is. We'll do a Charlie Brown song and we'll add whatever it is that you think of. So
this is probably the lamest song that anyone thought of.
All good. Well, Christina, once again, thank you so much for always supporting us. Thank you for being on the podcast. And as always, to our guests, salud, Golferos.
Salud.